and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7 with me, Raisha Sehgal, and today's show of News Night is live from the Al Falah University in Faridabad, around 30 kilometers from the national capital. I'm standing here at the Al Falah University right behind me, which is now the epicenter of the investigation, with India's top investigative agencies arriving here to unearth the white-collar terror. Let's also now tell you about how Al Falah University, that's from where this live coverage is coming to you, is now at the epicenter of interrogation here in Delhi. And the university has now finally broken its silence on the Delhi terror probe. Issuing a formal statement, the university chancellor has categorically distanced himself from the accused, saying that the university is anguished to hear about the blast, and they have further asserted that there are no links with the accused whatsoever. As a result, investigating agencies, Haryana police officers, NIA, they've all conducted a large-scale raid right here at the university behind me, in which all CCTV cameras were scanned by the investigators. And as per sources, at least 52 doctors from this university have been questioned as well. 3 more doctors from Al Falah University have also been detained. All right, while we're telling you all about this investigation, latest details have emerged in which investigators have identified a Maulvi. His name is Maulvi Irfan Ahmad from Shopian in South Kashmir. He is supposed to be the mastermind who blended his dual identity, that of a preacher on one hand and healthcare worker on the other, perhaps to reach the educated youth. This perhaps rather exposes the larger nexus, the larger network of how this plot was carried out. Sources have now told NDTV that Imam Irfan Ahmad played a crucial role in radicalizing medical students, including key suspects Muzammil and Omar, who are now under the scanner. And investigations also reveal that these 2 doctors, the terror suspects, were influenced by Jaish-e-Mohammed, and they regularly showed terror videos to the youth. The module was reportedly financed by a suspect named Shaheen, who was also under the scanner. Irfan also made several global calls, international calls, including to Afghanistan.
Maulana Hafiz Muhammad Ishtiaq is the another name that has been added to the white-collar terror, this entire module, and this is the residence of Ishtiaq from Maulana Ishtiaq from where we are reporting. Now, importantly, why it is important to tell you, because that's the residence, and here is the mosque. He was also the preacher at the Al Falah Mosque. Here on my right-hand side, Sanjay ji, you can show, this is the mosque where he used to preach, and at this same mosque, Mujammil used to come, Umar used to come. Apart from that, all those doctors who were involved in the white collar, they were directly or indirectly in touch with each other. This is the residence of Maulana Ishtiaq from where we are reporting right now. Here he used to stay, and he has been arrested. Now, important over here is, viewers, this is the residence of Dr. Ishtiaq, and just few meters away is the residence of Dr. Maulana Ishtiaq, and this is few meters away is the residence of Dr. Mujammil. Now, big question is, the residence of Dr. Mujammil is just few meters away, and this is the residence of Dr. Maulana Ishtiaq, and the mosque, Al Falah Mosque, is here just behind me, and the university, that is Al Falah University, that is also just few meters away from this entire campus. So the big question over here is that the module that was allegedly being run, was this being run within the campus or inside campus or within this entire area where this, where they decided to keep the explosives, which was just near at from the residence of Maulana Ishtiaq. All these things are under scanner one by one. All the explosive details are being revealed about their Turkey connection, about Afghanistan connection, about connection with the Jaish-e-Mohammed, about the funding, how it happened, why it happened, who was there, is there any another white collar terror, a big person who is still there behind the picture and his name is yet to be revealed. All these details will be unfolded as and when the investigation proceeds. With Vijay Sanjay, the stage 3 for NDTV from Faridabad.
We told you about the two terror suspects. Now we'll now tell you about Dr. Shaheen. Like we mentioned, 3 doctors connected to this Al Falah University are Muzammil Shakil, Umar Mohammed, and Shaheen Shahid. Here's a report which sheds more light on the role of Dr. Shaheen, who worked right here at the Al Falah University.
Dr. Shaheen, part of the Jaish-e-Mohammed Faridabad module, arrested from Lucknow. This is the female doctor who worked at Faridabad's Al Falah Medical College near the capital. And along with Dr. Umar, who allegedly triggered the blast outside the Red Fort, and Dr. Muzammil, who was hiding nearly 3,000 kgs of explosives, is part of the 10/11 terror conspiracy.
It was here that Dr. Shaheen, along with Dr. Umar and Dr. Muzammil, used to work, the Al Falah Medical College in Faridabad. It was here that her Swift Desire car was recovered with ammunition stacked inside, a network of white-collar terrorists, radicalized on Telegram groups and waiting to strike terror.
Dr. Shaheen's father, Syed Ahmed Ansari, has no clue she could be involved in such activities.
मैंने आपसे बताया कि वो करीब 1.5 साल हो गए। बात अभी 1 महीने पहले लगे हमसे बात हुई है शाहीन से। हाँ, परवेज से हर हफ्ते होती बात। कल मेरी नहीं हुई इसलिए बात, कल मैं शादी में था।
The father had not met Shaheen and Parvez for the last 1.5 years as they went to pursue medical studies. Dr. Shaheen's brother, Parvez, has been detained and is under questioning for his possible involvement. He was previously absconding as his Lucknow house was being raided by NIA and ATS teams.
को पुलिस ने शाहीन को डॉक्टर शाहीन को गिरफ्तार किया है कि आपको इस बात की कोई अहमियत है? पता चला आपको किसी से?
हमें तो किसी से नहीं पता, आप ही लोग से पहली बात पता लग रहा है।
NDTV has accessed exclusive details about Dr. Shaheen and her role in the plot. She was allegedly recruited by the Jaish-e-Mohammed to establish the terror organization's women's wing in India. Its Pakistan arm is headed by Jaish chief Masood Azhar's sister. Dr. Shaheen was allegedly assigned to establish and lead the women's wing of Jaish-e-Mohammed. Shaheen's digital trail is now being scanned to unearth the full extent of the women-led terror network that was planned. Investigators believe she was in contact with handlers across the border in Pakistan. NDTV Bureau Report.
Well, a crime branch team is at Dr. Shaheen's former husband's house to question him. Dr. Shaheen was arrested and is suspected to be a key member of the Faridabad terror module case. Her husband, Dr. Zafar Hayat, however, has said that they have been divorced since 2012 and that there is no connection between him and his former wife for the past 13 years. My colleague Vedika spoke to Shaheen's former husband. Take a listen.
When was the last time you spoke with Shaheen, Dr. Zafar?
मेरी आखिरी बार बातचीत उनकी मेरे डिवोर्स पे जब हमने डिवोर्स से 2 महीने पहले, डिवोर्स से 2 महीने पहले मेरी बात हुई थी, क्योंकि ये हमारा डिवोर्स बहुत शरई हिसाब से हुआ था, तो इस वजह से जो है।
You're saying that you were divorced about 13 years back, Dr. Hayat, but I want to understand, was the difference in mindset the reason that you separated?
तो वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाना चाह रही थी। मैंने एक बार मुझसे जिक्र किया कि भाई ऑस्ट्रेलिया अगर आप पसंद करते हो तो चला जाए, वहाँ ज्यादा अच्छी लाइफ रहेगी। मैंने अच्छा सही रिस्पॉन्स नहीं किया, तो शायद उसकी वजह से रहा हूँ, मुझे अंदाजा नहीं पड़ा है। मैं दिल के अंदर तो नहीं जानता हूँ कि क्या रहा होगा।
जी जफर जी, आप हमें परवेज के बारे में क्या बता सकते हैं? आप उनसे लास्ट टाइम कब मिले थे?
नहीं किसी ने नहीं किया अभी। कौन डॉक्टर परवेज? मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ। डॉक्टर परवेज उनके एक भाई थे
जी,
और वो एमबीबीएस किया मेरे सामने, फिर एमडी किया, एमडी मेडिसिन किया है।
जब आपकी मुलाकात हुई थी शाहीन से डॉक्टर, वाज शी एट द अल फलाह यूनिवर्सिटी?
क्योंकि मैंने तो कोई न्यूज वगैरह देखी ही नहीं, मेरे पास वक्त नहीं था, तो मुझे तो कुछ आइडिया नहीं था अल फलाह भी कोई चीज है और वहां पे पढ़ाती भी नहीं है, सब कुछ अंदाजा ही नहीं था। अभी अभी मुझे समझ में आ रहा है, आप लोग बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे तमाम आपके मीडिया वाले, तो उन्हीं लोगों से मुझे ये पता लगा कि वो अल-फलाह कोई जगह है, वहाँ पढ़ा थी।
जफर जी, माय लास्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू बिफोर आई लेट यू गो, आप हमें शाहीन के बारे में और क्या बता सकते हैं व्हेन यू वर इन टच विद हर, व्हेन यू वर मैरिड टू हर?
वो बुर्का तो उन्होंने मेरे सामने कभी पहना नहीं। जब हम लोग घर वगैरह जाते थे तो कभी थोड़ी 10 साल में के लिए पहन लेती थी। घर में बूढ़े लोग थे तो वो लोग थोड़ा पसंद करने करते थे, बाकी तो बिल्कुल कभी भी नहीं उन्होंने पहना बुर्का मेरे सामने।
All right, now let's now tell you about the timeline of all that happened at the Red Fort on November 10th. The Hyundai i20 entered Red Fort at 3:19 p.m. and it exited at 6:28 p.m. and then a blast takes place. Umar Mohammed, the doctor believed to have triggered the deadly car explosion near Delhi's Red Fort, was at the parking lot for nearly 3 hours, did not exit the car at all. An investigation reveals that he did not step out of his car at all. The question is, was he waiting for a go-ahead? Because he was inside the Hyundai i20 for about 3 hours, or perhaps was he having second thoughts about the Delhi Red Fort blast? Our next report telling you more.
November 10th, at about 8 a.m., a white Hyundai i20 quietly begins its journey from Al-Falah University in Faridabad. For 11 hours, it creeps through Delhi's arteries, crossing the Badarpur toll, skirting Mayur Vihar, weaving past Connaught Place. At 3:19 p.m., the car enters a parking lot beside the Red Fort. There, it stays. 3 hours. Inside, the driver, identified as Umar Mohammed, never leaves the vehicle, never steps out. He waits. Then, at 6:28 p.m., he drives out onto Netaji Subhash Marg, a red signal, a crowded junction near the Red Fort Metro. And then, the explosion. 9 dead, over 20 injured. Investigators say the reason for this long wait could have been that the Red Fort was closed on that Monday. It is usually closed every Monday. The original plan was to target the visitor parking lot, busy, symbolic, high impact. Instead, what they got was no crowd. He waited, then panic set in. The device, reportedly hastily detonated, had lesser impact than planned. CCTV footage traces the car's path through over 1,000 cameras. His phone switched off 10 days earlier. No contact. A burner? Was he waiting for instructions? Or did the discovery of security breach force a change? Behind the blast lies a chilling reminder. Even the best laid terror plans falter on a simple calendar error. And for a second of waiting, there can be a lifetime of consequences. In the heart of Delhi, amid history and tourists and everyday chaos, a quiet vehicle sat, ticking time. And when it finally moved, lives were lost in a crash zone of terror. We must remember the waiting, the planning, and the narrow margin between plan and devastation. Sejal Gupta for NDTV.
And in the latest news from today, Prime Minister Modi met the victims of the 10/11 blast in Delhi at the LNJP hospital. The Prime Minister has met the victims of the 10/11 Delhi blast at the LNJP hospital. The Prime Minister, who rather cut short his Bhutan visit, drove straight to the hospital soon after landing in Delhi. He inquired about the condition of those injured and assured all possible help from the centre. Prime Minister has also chaired a high-level meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security to review the security situation here in Delhi. Remember, Prime Minister Modi has vowed that those behind the conspiracy will be brought to justice, and he has time and again asserted that the nation stands united against terror. On that note, we wrap up this edition of Newsnight live from the Al Falah University, which has now become the epicenter of the investigation after the Delhi Red Fort blast.
लेकिन आज मैं यहाँ बहुत भारी मन से आया हूँ। कल शाम दिल्ली में हुई भयावह घटना ने सभी के मन को व्यथित कर दिया है। मैं पीड़ित परिवारों का दुख समझता हूं। आज पूरा देश उनके साथ खड़ा है। मैं कल रात भर इस घटना की जांच में जुटी सभी एजेंसियों के साथ, सभी महत्वपूर्ण लोगों के साथ संपर्क में था, विचार विमर्श चलता था, जानकारियों के तार जोड़े जा रहे थे। हमारी एजेंसियां इस षड्यंत्र की तह तक जाएगी।
A blast near Delhi's iconic Red Fort didn't just shake the capital. It shattered homes, futures, and 9 families who will never be the same again. They were ordinary people, out to earn, to work, to meet someone, to return home. A normal Monday became their last. Among the dead, Ashok Kumar, a Delhi transport conductor, sole earner for a family of 8.
क्लस्टर बस में ड्यूटी करते थे, तो ड्यूटी गए थे, कंडक्टर थे उसमें। तो जैसे हमने लिस्ट आई हमारे पास, मैंने लिस्ट में नाम पढ़ा, मैंने कहा मौसी का लड़का है। फिर मैंने पता करे, इधर उधर फ़ोन करे, कंट्रोल रूम में फ़ोन किया तो पता लगा कि हाँ, या तो ड्यूटी से आ रहे होंगे वो, या फिर इधर से निकल के जा रहे होंगे, क्योंकि आना जाना उनका इधर से ही था, लाल किले की तरफ से। यहाँ
Lokesh Gupta, a trader, in the city to meet a friend.
वो मेरे पास से ही गए थे सर गंगाराम हॉस्पिटल से। मैंने उनको मेट्रो में बैठाल करके भेजा था चांदनी चौक के लिए।
अच्छा।
चांदनी चौक पर जो लड़का है अशोक, जो एक्सपायर कर गया, वो उनको रिसीव करता।
अच्छा, जो डीटीसी के क्लस्टर बस के कंडक्टर हैं?
हाँ हाँ,
वो रिसीव करता।
Mohsin, from Meerut, came for business, returned wrapped in white. 22-year-old Pankaj Sahni, a cab driver, dropping someone to the station.
बस ये है, मेरे बच्चे को इंसाफ मिल जाए।
सरकार से यही उम्मीद है।
ये तो कह रही छोटे छोटे बच्चे अभी पढ़ ही रहे हैं और इसीलिए अभी चला भी गया।
हमें 1:30-2 बजे के करीब सूचना मिली है, वहाँ बम ब्लास्ट हो गया। जब हमें पता लगी तो हम भी तुरंत यहाँ से निकले। वहाँ जाकर देखा तो डेड बॉडी पड़ी थी और पुलिस वाले कोई अंदर जान नहीं दे रहे, तो इसलिए बाहर दिखाया।
9 lives lost, futures stolen in seconds. The blast didn't just pierce the heart of Delhi, it pierced families, now learning to live with a void that can never be filled. Akshita Thomas, NDTV, Bureau Report.